Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor ethics classes. In this class, we will understand completely about Immanuel Kant philosophy. In UPSC syllabus, there is a sentence given there. This is the one. Contributions of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and world. As part of this syllabus, identify moral thinkers from the world. In that particular topic, we can study about Immanuel Kant. Even there is a question also. Already UPSC also asked a question related to Kant philosophy. There is a question. I will show you the question also. Let us go to the ideology or philosophy of Immanuel Kant. Let us say this. If we want to know the ideology of Kant or his core moral philosophy of Kant, we have to know some information or some background during what kind of circumstances he was living. He was living in 1700s. In 1700s, what is the nature of Europe? He belongs to Germany. Present day, he belongs to present day Germany. But whatever the place he was born and brought up, that falls under present day Russia. But he belonged to a German kingdom called Prussia when he was living. What was the nature of Germany at that time? In 1700s, German people were not a single country. More than 300 kingdoms were there within German territories. Every king wants to protect his sovereignty. They were not willing to join hands with other German kings so that they can form one big German kingdom or German empire. When it comes to common people also, common people were suffering from feudal age. Feudal lords were controlling large tracts of land. Common people were forced to work under the feudal lords like serfs or bonded labor or slaves. This is the general atmosphere of Germany at that time. It was also the period where the religion was dominating the affairs of every day. People were believing in a lot of superstitious beliefs. That is what the religion propagated since many ages. Even in 1700s also, common people were suffering from this ignorance. That is one circumstance. Another one, he belonged to Protestant family. Protestant means Catholic Christianity was having so many evils like corruption in the church, witch hunting, intermediary between God and human being, role of Pope, church dominance everywhere. If there is a sin, if you pay the money to the church can absolve you your sins. That means you can become purified. You will become a good person by paying more. So that is the context, that is the circumstance in which he was growing. That means with money, with status, you can change what is right and what is wrong. If a privileged person commit a crime, punishment will not be given because they are born in high status. Even if they have committed crime like murder. If you are happen to be born in the lower class or lower strata of society, you will be punished in the name of protecting morality of the society or protecting the religion. That is what Catholic Christianity was doing. Protestant Christianity started questioning these kind of practices and they started gradually moving away from this kind of dogmatic practices. That is where Protestant Christianity is all about. He belonged to a religious family but not Catholic, Protestant. That means already the ideology which questioned the Catholic evils. That is why his ideology influenced by Protestant religion also. Protestant ideology also. I have explained briefly what is the nature of politics, what is the nature of society, what is the nature of economy, and what is the nature of religion. So he was growing in that kind of atmosphere. In 1700s, this was the map of Germany. This is the map of Germany. Identify this one. This is where. This is how it looks. So many kingdoms, competition, continuous wars and battles, continuous conspiracies. He is the person, Immanuel Kant. Because once we know about the background, then it becomes easy to understand why he was giving such kind of philosophy. For example, if you want to know about Swami Vivekananda philosophy, can you understand his philosophy without knowing in which circumstances he was giving? He was during British Raj, colonial period. Colonial masters were exploiting Indians. And despite that, Indians were suffering and Indians were thinking that it is our karma. That is what we cannot do anything with respect to this exploitation. Whereas Swami Vivekananda says, it is not the fate, fate is in your hand, destiny is in your hand. If you work, you will relieve from this suffering. So that is the context. Similarly, if you want to know about his philosophy also, if we know his background, it becomes easy. He is the person, that is the kingdom in which he was living. The present day map is this one. This is the location where he was living. Now, what is the nature of other places? This is with respect to Germany at that time. Now in 1700s, when Germany is divided like this, but already United Kingdom is progressing. Already enlightenment happened in England. They came out of this religious dogmatism early. They already started getting benefit out of this enlightenment in the form of many philosophies. Some people like David Hume, he propagated empiricism. That means you question everything, you observe everything in reality. Only if you feel it, if there is something good, then only you take it, otherwise you discard it. Practically, person has to feel it. Empiricism, practically a person has to see through his eyes, then only one can understand or believe it. For example, when it comes to God, the ideology of empiricism says, I am not able to see God, then I no need to believe in God. Unless God appears in front of me, I need not to believe the God. This kind of philosophy was going in England at that time. This enlightenment philosophies like human rights, natural rights, beyond this religious dogmatism, beyond this religious atmosphere, people wanted to live in peace. That is where this society already created great scientists like Newton also. Newton in 1600s, but we are in 1700s. Kant is living in 1700s. Newton was living in 1600s. Now, direct point here is, earlier religion was believing that this universe is created by the God. God is running this universe. Sun is revolving because of God. Earth is moving because of the God. Morning and nights are happening because of God. If people are born at poor because of God, if some people are enjoying high status because of the God, then Newton has changed it completely by saying that it is not the God who is running this universe, it is the natural law. This nature itself has a law called natural law that is running the universe. That is why Earth is rotating around the sun. That is why planets are there. That is why stars are there. That is why Earth is rotating around the sun without escaping from the sun orbit. That kind of ideology came, that science also progressed. He has given a complete framework how this universe run. At the macro level, at a very universe level, he has given this. Now, why I am talking about Newton means, exactly like Newton who has given laws for physics, for understanding physics of this universe, Kant has given laws for understanding morality. Now, could you get in which circumstance we were living? in which circumstances Kant was living, and what is the atmosphere of England, what is the atmosphere of Germany. When it comes to France also, in 1700s, similar kind of atmosphere. This atmosphere is now inspiring these people also, because English people were the first people when it comes to the Enlightenment phase who came out of this superstitious and started questioning and advancing in terms of science and technology and various ideologies. There was one more ideology in England, that is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism means, suppose if you do any action, if it helps more number of people, then that action is very good action. That means correct action, right action, good action. For example, if you want to save 100 people, if you have to kill 10 people, you have to kill 10 people, then only you can save 100 people. According to this utilitarian philosophy, killing 10 people is not wrong, because if you kill them, you will save 100 people. Number game. Maximum number of people can benefit out of certain actions. That is utilitarian. So one is practically you have to see in front of your eyes, then only you can believe. From there, whether right or wrong, you decide. That is one kind of philosophy in England. Another kind of philosophy also growing, that is utilitarianism. That means if you perform an action, if it helps a maximum number of people, that is a good action. With respect to morality, these two philosophies are going on. With respect to physical science, physics, natural science, Newton has given natural laws. Inspired by all these things, he is going to give a new kind of philosophy for morality. He is like Newton of morality. Newton is for physics, Kant is for morality. Now, in between, France is also there. France society is also passing through this kind of enlightenment phase. People like Voltaire, who was questioning the dogmatism of church, who is ruthlessly exposing the corruption in the church, who is ruthlessly exposing the immorality of the church. Voltaire inspired him. Next, his contemporaries, Rousseau also inspired. Rousseau, Voltaire, Montesquieu, these are the great philosophers of French society. Now, everyone is talking about church should not dominate the lives of the people, because church is saying what is morality, what is right and what is wrong. Whatever society is thinking what is right and wrong, that is coming from the institution called church. But issue here is, if church is functioning in pure sense, these kind of laws, people don't have any issue in accepting them. But church itself is involved in corruption. That is why society itself is now questioning the morality that is coming from church. Means church is an institution, but what is the core philosophy of the church? That is the religion. That is why people started questioning this right and wrong need not to be coming from religion alone. Why? This religion is discriminating Catholics and Protestants, one group. Christianity, Jewish people, another group. Christianity, Islam, another group, and they are frequently fighting. If there is right, if there is wrong, fighting is also should not be there among different religions. But within religion, people are fighting. Between religions also people are fighting. That means there is something kind of law that should go beyond this religion. It should not be based on one religion. It should apply for all religions. Some laws which must be applied for all religions. It need not to be for Christian, Jewish people, Islam, Hindu, anyone. Some law should be there. That law should be applied for every religion, and in every religion it should be true, and it should be correct. It should be morally correct one. Because in this kind of atmosphere, people were fighting in the name of religion. People were fighting in the name of upper class and lower class. People were fighting in the name of expanding their empires from one kingdom to the other kingdom. Violence was happening, discrimination was happening. Humans were not treated like human beings. Humans were treated like slaves and animals. That is the kind of atmosphere he was living. Now, I hope you know very well that why he is giving. Now, understanding this will help you to understand why he was giving that kind of ideology. That is just a list of ideology only. Now, we have seen so far what are the different kind of terms. Let me explain. Let me note down here. Empiricism. That means practically someone has to observe, look at it, and then only decide. That means what? Information coming from outside brain. Information from outside world. Based on that, a person decide whether it's right or wrong. Then, utilitarian. This maximum number of people should be happy. Maximum number of people should be happy. Understand this. Happy. That means if 10 people are dying, killed for the sake of 100 people, according to this philosophy, 100 people are happy. That's why killing 10 people, nothing wrong. Utilitarianism. This is exactly in the present day circumstance. I will give some examples how we have to apply this philosophy to Indian context also. Example, one murder case happened, one rape case happened, people protested, then police decided that criminal must be eliminated so that society will feel happy. Encountering this criminal on the spot without taking to the justice, without taking to the court of law. Immediately killing the person, encounter. That's one. Now, if some people are creating disturbances for certain demands, killing them so that society will not face any kind of law and order issue. Utilitarian. Utilitarian means this only. Next one. This is with respect to killing. In case of India, sati practice was there. Sati practice was like killing women. Now, according to this utilitarian philosophy, abolish sati so that maximum number of women can feel happy and maximum number of people will feel happy. Abolish it. There will be good also, there will be some negative implications also. But this is how utilitarian philosophy works. For the sake of maximum number of people happiness, if some people have to be eliminated or if you have to create suffering for some few people, it is good action. That is the kind of. Again, the reaction is right or wrong is coming from outside world only, because it depends on how many number of people that are happy outside world. All right. So this is what, whether an action is right, whether something is right or wrong, it depends on a person's experience outside world. This one. Now, when it comes to Kant, he told that whatever action, whether it is right or wrong, is decided by the outside world. But actually, that is not the case. An action, whether it is right or wrong, comes from the reasoning. That is where Immanuel Kant philosophy is all about. Reason. Reason means in our brain. In our brain, we see something through empiricism. And if some people are happy, that information comes to our brain, then brain process it. Then apply the logic, reason for it. then an action, whether it is right or wrong, outcome comes, decision comes, or outcome comes. So that means whether an action is right or wrong comes from internally from the brain, not just from the outside only. He is not denouncing the factoring of outside action. He is considering outside happiness also. He is considering outside practical empiricism examples also. But at the same time, you have to apply this outside information, apply the logic on that information internally in your brain, in your conscience. Then only an action can be said whether it is right or wrong. It appears somewhat complex. Let me simplify it. Just remember the word reason. So this reason comes from within us. Whereas empiricism, utilitarianism, philosophy comes outside us. This is within us. With some examples I will give. When it comes to Corona spread like anything, wildfire. Now lockdown happened. Lockdown is going to completely shut down all the economic activities. It is going to create a lot of inconvenience. Already it happened. Now this action, whether decision is lockdown. Now the decision is correct or incorrect. Whether decision is correct, moral or immoral. This is a very, very practical example which we have also faced. We are preparing for civil service examination. When you become district magistrate, you are going to be given as a duty to perform this, to lock down entire district. Already happened. Now on what basis you will decide whether this action is right or wrong? If you go by empiricism, means people are getting inconvenience, it is not correct. If you go by maximum utilitarian, means entire economy collapsed, unemployment increased, everything, again it is not correct action. But according to Kant, within us means what is the motivation, what is the logic, what is the intention. Understand this term, intention. The intention behind lockdown is to save the people. To save people. Identify this. Now, if you apply utilitarian, maximum number of people got inconvenience. If you go by utilitarian philosophy, that action is not correct. But when it comes to the intention, it is not to create inconvenience to the people. Intention is to save people from coronavirus spreading, so that maximum number of people can safeguard their life. So intention is to save life. That's why this action is correct one. This is how you see how it is going to happen. Another example. Now, when it comes to duty, Kant says whether an action is right or wrong, it will not be decided by the outside outcome, but the action itself decides. That means, is it confusing? Action itself decides whether it is correct or not the outcome of it. Example. A doctor is doing operation, but a patient died. Another example, practical example, live example, real example. That is why Kant philosophy is like a Newton physics, where like a Newton laws apply everywhere. For every action there is exact opposite reaction. gravitational force. These are the principles of Newton for the physics. Similarly, for when it comes to morality, his principles are like that, Newton-like. If doctor is doing operation, what is his intention? Intention is to save the life of the patient. But outcome is death. Death is wrong, immoral, incorrect. But what is the intention? Intention is to save the life. That means this action itself is not correct, not wrong. Action itself decides. It is not the outcome. Whether a patient died or happily living, that is all right. But this action is not incorrect because patient died. This is what outcome is not deciding here. It is deciding, the action itself is deciding whether an action is correct or not. Whether this doctor is moral doctor or immoral doctor, ethical or unethical. So this is how doctor example I have given. Another example I have given. When it comes to lockdown also, another example. So in this way, Kant philosophy will help in judging whether a particular action is moral or immoral. Another one, when it comes to civil services, if you know all these examples, then automatically you will come to know, just listing out those principles. Another example, a bureaucrat always late. Always late. According to Kant, duty is to appear in the office on time. When it comes to bureaucrat, they may have many kind of excuses. But when it comes to duty, a person should perform his duty on time as per the given duty. If bureaucrats perform their duty on time, whatever duty they are supposed to do, if they do it, then they are moral. Duty, doctor is doing his duty or her duty to safeguard the patient. Patient died. Doesn't matter, but still doctor is ethical doctor, good doctor. Similarly, when it comes to bureaucrat also, if a bureaucrat come on time, do his duty on time, then that bureaucrat is moral. Correct bureaucrat. Next one. Suppose a bureaucrat is offered bribe. Bureaucrat is offered bribe. Bureaucrat may have any kind of excuses, like he may be in need of financial crisis. That bureaucrat family may be in health crisis, maybe education crisis. Bureaucrat daughter or son wants some kind of financial assistance for the education. Let any kind of excuse may be there. This bribe, if bureaucrat take it by convincing, by taking that this is for this purpose, it is illegal or it is immoral, because bribe itself is immoral. Here, what is this? Action. This is action itself decides, not the outcome. Are you seeing? This is the action and discarding bribe. That means I am not taking bribery. That makes bureaucrat moral. No matter what kind of justification you give for this action, it is not going to make that action moral. That is why duty, these are the terms we are going to, when it comes to the principles, reason and duty, intention. These are the one, at least these are the one which decides which decide whether an action is ethical or unethical. That way, we are going to understand now what are the core philosophy, core ideology he has given. Telling truth. Even if you tell the truth, a person is going to die. Whether now, is it moral or immoral? Telling the truth is your duty. Telling the truth itself is virtue. That's why you have to tell the truth always, not the outcome. Identify this. That is how you have to apply these combinations to decide whether a particular action is ethical or not. That is how our case studies also, whenever you get a case study, like a disaster happens, you have some people on one side, you have some people on the other side, but you have an option to safeguard only one section of the people. How you take the decision? In that kind of moral dilemmas, his philosophy is going to help you. So when it comes to case studies also, this is how it is going to help us. So overall, in which circumstances he is drawing the conclusions? When it comes to other world, religion was deciding what is wrong or what is right, whereas he is saying reason. And tradition or custom is deciding what is right or wrong. In case of India, sati practice. And he says, within you, logic decides whether it is a correct or not. So he says, outside agency. In his time period, outside agency is deciding what is right or wrong, and inside you decide whether it is a correct action or incorrect action. So simply, this is the one. I have already given example like in which context he was living. Religion dominates, authoritarian dominates, feudalism dominates, serfdom dominates, poverty, slavery, bonded labor dominate, religious intolerance dominates. If you kill a Jew, that is correct one according to one religion. But he says killing itself is wrong, whether it disagree with other religion. That is where he has given some kind of principles which are like Newton laws for physics. His laws are universal for ethics. Now let us see what are his core ideology. And these are the ideology. These are all examples to explain, to make you understand. But the real answers you have to quote like this. Whatever terminology, whatever I am going to give you, this terminology is important for the examination point of view. Now, philosophy of Kant. See some practice questions also. This was already asked. In law, a man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. Identify this one. Only when outcome comes, when it comes to law, a law say police will come only when crime takes place. But when it comes to his law, before committing crime, his intention is to crime, means that itself is immoral, unethical. So that's where in ethics, he is violating, he is guilty. Only after action that becomes illegal in terms of law, but in terms of ethics, that thought itself is guilty. That's all. Second question, practice Kantian ethics emphasize on intention, not consequence. Identify intention, discuss relevance for public servants. So many examples will keep coming. What circumstances made Kant give such a philosophy? Already explained. Enlightenment age, he got inspiration from so many people. Next, his core philosophy is also called, identify this, deontological ethics. Deon means in Greek language duty. There was one saying also that he was a professor. He was so disciplined, every day morning he comes to the university on time. Even in the walking on the streets also, the street through which he passes, he will exactly pass through the street exactly on time only. There was even a joke also that the people in that region used to think that, laugh that, if Kant is going in some particular time means they can even set the watch's time also. That means even watch may go wrong, but Kant never go out of discipline. Time means time because he lives in duty. Duty for the sake of duty, he will do it. That is how the kind of discipline he maintained in his life. That is what lessons we can learn from the philosophers means. This one example. And the kind of duty he has given importance also, that is the example. That's why his philosophy is also called deontological. Deon means duty in Greek. A bureaucrat must perform the duty no matter excuses. That is how. Now, moral law comes from reason, not consequences. Example I have given. The moral law within me, that's what Kant says. Moral law is within me. It will not come from religion. It will not come from empiricism. It will not come from the outside world. It comes from within me. Whatever happens outside world, it influences me. But ultimately, my brain processes it and I decide whether it is right or wrong. That's where the moral law is within me, not outside me. A civil servant refuses a bribe not because of fear of punishment. If a person takes bribe, there will be punishment. Bureaucrat is not taking bribe not because he is afraid or she is afraid of punishment, because bribery itself is wrong. That's why not taking bribery. That is how within me means that my action is decided not by the outcome or not from the external agency, but from within me. Reason telling itself it violates moral law. Taking bribery is moral, immoral. That's why bureaucrat will not take it. Next, goodwill is the only unconditional good. That means if intention is good, the intention behind the action, if it is pure, like a doctor operating patient, intention is always to safeguard. Then always without any conditions, that action is correct one. Goodwill is the only unconditional good. The doctor treats dying patient sincerely, but patient dies, still moral because doctor intention was right. That is one. Some more next one. Duty is the foundation of morality. That is another principle. So when it comes to examination, explain the moral philosophy of Kant means you have to give one heading, example, one heading, one line, a description, and one example. Duty, act done from inclination, emotion, or reward. Suppose if an employee is there, so many case studies also used to come that there is a company, private company, employees are there. Employees are performing for the sake of salary, for the sake of reward. Then this is to gain praise, to gain reward, to avoid blame. That is one kind of action. People get motivation from that. That is not moral, but duty, act done from the duty because the reason commands it right. A private employee or a bureaucrat or any employee or any person, any political person performs the duty for the sake of performing it because that particular role demands. If an MP is there, member of parliament, a role is to properly do research, give the speeches in parliament and criticize or they critically evaluate the policies of the government, or if he is in opposition or if he is in the government, explain the importance of the law to the public. Simply, if parliament is functioning means member of parliament should do their duty in making the laws of the country in strict sense, in duty bound manner. If they walk out, if they are not allowing the other member of parliaments not speaking, then misusing the parliamentary stage, then that becomes immoral. If an MP performs the role given by member of parliament by the constitution, if they perform, that is moral. Whether a member of parliament's choice or whether member of parliament's advice is taken by the government or not, it doesn't matter. But doing its duty, doing her duty is moral. In that way, you can apply a doctor doing duty. Suppose if a government doctor is there doing on time duty from morning to evening, that is what? Morality. A bureaucrat coming to the office on time and doing duty, that is what? Morality. So that's what? Duty is the foundation of morality. Next, categorical imperative. What is this categorical imperative? This is very, very important one. Categorical imperative means utmost important, irrespective of religion. This will apply for everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Hindu, whether you are a Jew, it doesn't matter. It applies everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you are in Europe, whether you are in Africa, whether you are in Asia, doesn't matter. It applies everywhere. Categorical imperative. That's what universal law. So he says, if there is any particular action, you apply that action across the universe, across the time period. It was true 1000 years ago also. It is true after 1000 years ago also. That's what universal law. Do only what can be universalized without contradiction. If everyone lied, truth would collapse. Never lie. So truth, telling truth is always correct across religions, across regions, across the timeline. That is why lie is not correct. That's why one should not do. Humanity as an end. Treating people not as a means, but in end itself. That means, suppose if a person wants to become successful by killing people, if a person earn a lot of money, that action is not going to be moral one. If a person cheat some people to become rich, that means he is using the people for his success, that is not correct. Every person is having a dignity, every person is having a respect, respecting it. A feudal lord is living comfortable life at the cost of the burden on the bonded labor. Serfs, slaves, this is what? Slaves are not treated as human beings according to this principle, humanity as an end itself. Slaves are also human beings. Feudal lord should not depend on the slaves' labor. By exploiting slaves, you cannot become happy person or successful person. Same goes to colonialism. London became very rich, but by exploiting Indians. That action will not make it as moral, because you are treating Indians as just tools to become you rich. England, that's what humanity as an end. Kingdom of ends, act as if your behavior were to become universal law governing all rational beings. Make rules fair for everyone like a just lawmaker. Think that your law is applied to you also, to everyone also. It is not any kind of excuse for you. Say like telling truth is always correct one. Everyone believes. But when it comes to me, exceptionalism will come. That's how people used to justify. In this circumstance, I will lie because I am exceptional. That is not the case. It should be applied for you also, everyone also. It law should be is same only. No exceptionalism. Next, autonomy and freedom of the will. A person must be freely able to analyze, logic apply, and his or her reasoning only decides. That autonomy is what makes a person moral or immoral. Next one, moral worth lies in universality, not preference. Again, emotion, religion, tradition, outside world, subjective in nature. Different religions will say different laws, subjective. Different regions follow different laws, subjective. That will not make the moral value. Reason and universal law, objective. Everywhere, anytime is true. Telling truth is always, whether it is 5000 years ago, after 5000 years ago, all same. That is what same. Ends do not justify means. That's where. Ends means utilitarianism. For the sake of greater people, if you create harms for someone, that is not going to make that action incorrect. Torturing one person to save many lives is immoral. According to utilitarian philosophy, consequentialism, that is correct. You torture one person for the sake of greater good. But according to his philosophy, that is incorrect. Now moral dilemma will come. Now a criminal is there. If you don't torture, he will not give you the information, and a terrorist act may happen. In terrorist activity, hundreds of people may get killed. Now, for the sake of getting the truth, information, will you torture the person or not? It's a practical example. When it comes to Kant, that is immoral, but practically something else is happening. So that is what for the sake of. That's where when it comes to bureaucrat, you have to keep in mind all these kinds of philosophies to give you some kind of direction. For that moment, which philosophy will help you? Whether Kant philosophy will help you, or utilitarian philosophy will help you, empiricism philosophy will help you, and so on. But these are what? Examples. Now there is a criticism also for this, because it is more of idealism in nature. Practically, when it comes to pragmatic values, more dangers are happening if a person strictly follows these principles sometimes. That is where criticism is also that very rigid in nature. It will not give any scope for the particular circumstance. It is always rigid. Next, connection between reason, freedom and duty. Criticism means this one, too rigid. That's what, for example, a terrorist act may go on. After 20 days, one huge bomb blast is going to happen, or some kind of invasion is going to take place. Somehow, police or military got information, one person got nabbed or one person got arrested. Now, to get the truth, to get the real information, they have to investigate. That investigation requires sometimes torture also, but according to Kant, that is not correct one. Because that is, according to his philosophy, torture itself is incorrect. That's why one should not do. But if you don't do it, if you don't get the information, then how can you save? More dangers are going to happen. A nuclear blast may take place. A biological weapon may come, and it is going to create havoc after some time. But for that moment, torturing also illegal, immoral for Kant. Too rigid. Neglect emotions, because people are going to get killed after some time. Emotions are there. That emotion also, according to Kant, that should not decide your decision, your action. Emotion, neglect. Ignore compassion, empathy. Moral life needs both reason and feeling. Emotion is also required. That is missing in this. Duty. Duty conflict, when two duties clash, truth versus loyalty, no clear guidance. Whether you are loyal, whether you are true, then what you can take. That is where same family member, same committed, some kind of activity, whether you are loyal to the family or loyal to the truth, duty conflict will come. Again, it becomes conflict. Don't know what type of decision it has to take. Next, practical limitations, hard to apply in complex public policy scenario. These are some of the critical examples, critical analysis. But however, more or less, his philosophy gave broader direction to decide whether a particular action is moral or not. In every philosophy, there will be limitations. For example, if you take Gandhian philosophy also, Gandhian philosophy, non-violence. If you stick to the non-violence, according to him, then overall society will be peaceful. That is what good means. But if you follow non-violence, the person, opposition person or terrorist do not believe in that, and terrorist is creating the people, killing the people. How can you justify whether non-violence is correct or not? So every philosophy has its own limitations. Accordingly, Kant also. That is where even Newton physics laws also questioned. That is why Einstein was born. Otherwise, if there is no questioning, no Einstein. Newton questioned previous laws, Newton was born. Newton laws were questioned by Einstein, a new person born Einstein. Now present times, people are questioning Einstein theory also. That's why new theories will come. So that is how the humanity is progressing. Kant limitations also like this. However, Newton laws prevailed for so many centuries. Even today also relevant only. Einstein laws also relevant only. But some new laws will come. Those laws also going to be relevant. Similarly, his laws also relevant. And to overcome this one, we will find some other solution. Yet, Kant's insistence on integrity, autonomy and universal respect remains the foundation for civil service, human rights, professional code of conduct. So, he says human dignity is important. Do not consider humans as ends. They not means ends. Human happiness. That means don't use people like slaves to become you comfortable. You give freedom to them. That is what international level human rights declaration, it is what applied. That is where. And code of conduct, bureaucracy must function according to the set of code of rules. Code of conduct, that's what duty is all about. That's what it is relevant also. That is why, even though some rigid limitations are there, still his law is very much applicable. Some quotation. Nothing can possibly be conceived in the world which can be called good without qualification except a goodwill. So simply he says, if my intention is good, then only that particular action makes right. Act as if the maxim of your action were to become through your will a universal law of nature. That means whatever you do, suppose you are lying, you want everyone to be truthful to you, but you can lie. Apply this maxim, apply this principle. If you are lying means, what if everyone surrounding you lie? Will you be happy? No. If you tell truth, and if surrounding you all of it telling the truth, if you feel happy, yes, then that is correct one. That's where if you cheat, but you expect all the people with you do not cheat, they must be loyal, then is it universal? No, that is not going to create happiness for you. If you are loyal and the people surrounding you also loyal, that is universal. That is what moral means. Two things fill the mind with wonder: the starry heavens above me and the moral law within me. So he is, as I said, he is a pious religious person, Protestant, but he don't want any kind of intermediary like Pope or church. But with respect to the heavens, he believes in that, but it doesn't mean he follow only that. If something good comes from there also he takes, but he applies it reason, logic, whatever he get from the outside world, then he decide whether it is moral or not. So simply information that comes from outside also he takes, he apply his logic and reason, then he decide whether an action is correct or not. These are the philosophy's principles of Kant. One case study also you can see how his philosophy will be applied. A senior officer faces pressure to manipulate data to show a welfare scheme's success. A welfare scheme is there, not functioning properly, but you have to prove that that scheme is success. Then only you will get more funds, then only you can do more. Utilitarian view says manipulate the data helps secure more funds, greater good. If you show scheme is good, then budget will pass more, budget will give you more, parliament will give you more budget, then you once again spend on that particular scheme to make it good. Kantian view says manipulation means lying, that is immoral, violates truth and integrity. Hence, Kantian ethics support honesty, rule of law, even at personal cost. That is how. When it comes to case studies also, you can apply, you keep applying his principles, you will get very good examples to justify whatever case you are trying to solve it. Alright, this is how Kantian philosophy, Immanuel Kant. In this manner, we are going to deliver ethics classes for you. Those who are interested in ethics, you can contact the IAS Mentor. Thank you very much.